was in the middle of lunch, but there's something important that I want to talk about. I was rewatching a video that made me laugh by iHip News about Eminem Kirk's whatever that was. But anyway, there's a clip of her husband that I wanted to discuss because I feel like there's an important point that needs to be made, and it sort of just got wiped away by everybody talking about what Charlie actually said. Charlie made statements about black pilots not being qualified because my assumption, and this is, I guess, a reasonable assumption, is that he was worried about Democratic policies lowering standards to become a pilot with an airline. Now, I understand what he was saying, and I could kind of hear these insertions where he was like, oh, I don't want people to think this is who I am. I think he recognized that what he said sounded harsh, and that's what I want to make a point about. The thing with a lot of these guys in the right wing politics community is that they may have the right ideas, but I feel like they're not motivated for the right reasons. So, like with Charlie, if your concern was solely the Democratic policies, I don't think you would have made a statement like that, where it seems like you're trying harder to impress guys in your community and make them laugh. With like oh, haha, when I see a black guy, I'm just going to assume he's dumb. That's what it sounds like. And even if you didn't mean it, that is what it sounds like. So my advice is reassess yourself and don't be afraid to do that. I know that in that community, it's not really looked highly upon to question or go back on your beliefs. I was raised in an affluent Republican conservative community where most people were Catholic. I understand there's a lot of prejudice in these communities, and they're taught to either fear or distrust different races. Now, whether or not that contributes to people hating other races, no one knows. It's up to the individual. But there are a lot of people who I notice, like Charlie and other guys like him, other women like him, when they talk about their concerns in politics, they have that prejudice air about them. And that's what turns people off. That's what turns people away from the debates and from wanting to fix these things, because they're like, oh, the right's just a bunch of racists. This is why they think that. I'm trying to help you. Because I was once one of you, and I went to the outside after living in a very different kind of community. I look back, I'm like, geez, these people are really hateful, despite being so affluent. I think you need to check yourselves, and that's said with love. Make sure that your pride is not getting ahead of you, and make sure that when you're discussing these matters, it's because you actually care about them, okay? And not just because you have a problem with the demographics in question.